Hello, my name is Svetlana Kuyumdzhieva. I was the artistic director of Plovdiv 2019, European Capital of Culture, and I was invited to participate in your wonderful event and to present, to speak about the role of the artistic director in the process of transition between the Big Book program and the real program of the European Capital of Culture. That's why I called my presentation before and after European Capital of Culture, and it turned out not to be easy to somehow structure the whole experience that I had only into 15 minutes, but I will try to do it. So I choose to present you some of the main challenges which I faced as artistic director during my work. Plovdiv is the second largest city in Bulgaria, which has very rich and diverse history. It is more than 8,000 years old, and it's among the few continuously inhabited ancient cities in Europe. Plovdiv entered the bid for the European Capital of Culture title in 2011, and it gained very big advantage over the other candidates, thanks firstly to the realistic program and budget, but also thanks to the inclusion of different communities, different ethnical groups, thanks to the focus on education and also the honest presentation not only on the strengths, but also on the weaknesses and the challenges that the city will face. For example, supporting the development of the creative industries and the cultural sector at the local, regional, and national level was one of the main priorities of the initial program. And one of the first projects that was started during the bid was the Kapana Creative District, which is currently one also of the most successful examples of a legacy of the title European Capital of Culture and one of the most favorite and attractive zones in Plovdiv. The number of projects dedicated especially to schools and young people, also including the capacity building and public development projects. The project dedicated especially to the Cyrillic alphabet because Plovdiv was the first European capital of culture that is using Cyrillic alphabet. Also the projects dedicated especially to the Roma community were among the main priorities in the initial program for the European Capital of Culture. And this picture here, you may see the visit of the international jury in the Roma neighborhood in Plovdiv called Stulipinovo, which is one of the biggest on the Balkans. It has special focus in our program. To build a team was the first priority which I faced as artistic director. I was invited to join the team of Plovdiv 2019 at the end of 2014, only a couple of months after winning of the title. The team was consisted only of 5 people back then. So my first priority was to build a team which is experienced in organizing and managing cultural activities. The structure of the organization and the plan for its further development were set in the bid book, so we basically stick to it and we implemented the initial plan. According to the structure, which you can see here, the artistic director and the CEO are operating on the same level and share the responsibilities. And we were lucky with my colleague to have very good cooperation and to have very good dialogue. This was something very important for the whole project. In 2015, I was looking to find people and to attract people who later became the core of the whole organization, of the whole structure. These were the people from the artistic team under my direct management. This is how the foundation and the whole team was looking like in 2018, already much larger than in the beginning. For me, it was important also to keep working with the people from the bidding team, the previous team of the foundation, and to keep them close to the project and thus to provide some kind of continuation. So we attracted many of them as external partners, and they were very active, especially in the first years of the preparation. This is how the team of Plovdiv 2019 was looking like in 2018 during the presentation of the program. We were already 46. To set up a system was my next challenge. Having the title for the first time in Bulgaria, we had to start inventing the whole system of working. And since the project is funded with local public funds, we had to adjust this system to the local public procurement law. The limits turn out to be not very flexible, and also there were no good exceptions for cultural activities. And in the same time, there were no political will for making any exceptions, especially for this project, which was needed somehow. So, after many discussions, we came to a general agreement that the only reasonable compromise is to organize the whole programming process through open calls. It provided the competitive procedure to respond to the requirements of the law. So it was not actually the usual call for public participation that many European capitals of culture do. This was the whole process of programming for us, and for a period of 3 years, we had to make around 20 open calls. The main condition for all of our applicants was to provide at least 30% of their total budget as their own contribution. It could be also in kind contribution, but it was necessary to have their own participation in the funding of the project that they initiate. The identity of the project was also challenging for me and for us as a team, because we had to make the difference between the bidding phase and between the implementation phase. So at some point we found ourselves in a situation where we could not mark the activities and the events of the program, and to distinguish them from the other events that are happening in Plovdiv. This is how we were looking like in the very beginning, and this is how we were looking like later and after, let's say. Together is the motto of the program of Plovdiv 2019, and it stayed as the so-called social logo. We left it to the people for a free use. In the same time, we adopted a new logo with 7 arches symbolizing the hills, the windows, the bell towers, the architecture of Plovdiv as a special sign of our program. This logo continued living as also as pictograms everywhere all over the city, and it helped a lot for the better communication of the program. The whole change of the visual identity happened relatively late for us in 2018, but still it worked very well for distinguishing the program. To manage with the budget, of course, was one of the biggest challenges, and it may sound unreal, but the bidding process could continue longer than expected. So we had to keep on bidding on every step, even after the title was already a fact. In our case, we had to explain and defend and present the projects many times in different institutions. It even continues now because the foundation is still existing. So according to the figures in these tables that compare the expenditures and the incomes between the originally planned and the final report, you can find out the difficulties that we faced, especially the difficulties with the budget. According to the final report, we managed to implement the project with the half of the initially planned budget, actually. In the same time, thanks to our partners and thanks to our proactive search of different partnerships and different kind of collaborations, we managed to attract 18 million levs additionally to the funding that we had, and also to attract 1.2 million levs additionally, also additional funding raised from the international cultural institutes, for example, and embassies that are based in Bulgaria. So this is the final balance, let's say, budget-wise. To implement the program, of course, is the main challenge of every artistic director, and joining the project in a later stage, I did not allow myself the luxury of changing or redesigning the program to my taste and understanding. My main goal was rather to enrich it and to preserve its basic concepts and philosophy. My hand as artistic director was mainly to give priority to contemporary culture and contemporary artists, to provide a variety of partnerships and projects. So the structure of the program was kept and the number of the project was increased. This is how the program was looking like in the bid. During the bid, we had 4 platforms with 3 clusters of projects in every platform, and the total number of projects in the start of the implementation was around 40. The Fuse, Transform, Revive, and Relax are the 4 platforms of our program, and they combined in a very creative way the special features of the title European Capital of Culture with the special features of the city of Plovdiv. Fuse is the platform dedicated to the Roma communities and to the ethnic groups, also to the region. The Transform platform is dedicated to the abandoned urban spaces and zones, the Tobacco City, including also the Mice River. A Revive platform is inspired by the Bulgarian revival from the 19th century. Plovdiv is a big center of it, but also it is dedicated especially to contemporary art. Relax is the platform dedicated of the slow life, but also this is the platform of the sporting, different kind of creative and musical activities, and let's say this is the platform of the entertainment. This is the program of Plovdiv 2019 in the title tier. It had already 300 projects. You may see some of the key facts related to the program here, but in fact it happened on the way, but we managed to keep the balance between all the platforms and the target audiences, which was very crucial for the European Capital of Culture. Some of the original ideas grew more than expected, as it happened with the Tobacco City, for example. It was planned just as a series of public interventions because all of the industrial buildings there in the area are privately owned. But later we managed to move our offices in one of the former tobacco warehouses and to change the function of the whole building completely, turning it into the cultural center. More than 50 events happened there, as meetings, conferences, also exhibitions. And this is how we show the model, how these buildings could potentially function later. Kapana Creative Districts, which I mentioned, started as an experiment to attract different cultural industries to come and inhabit the area. But later we continued supporting cultural activities there, and currently this is the most vibrant zone in Plovdiv. The Mahala cluster turned out to be the most international one, and it was surprising for us to find out that most of the international partners are more interested in working with the Roma community, interacting with the community. We started very early the preparation of this cluster of projects because we were quite aware that we will need a longer preparation. And we continued with the activities very dedicated mostly to the youngsters and related mostly with educational projects. Every ECoC program needs to have its headliners, as the jury also reminded us many times. And these are the projects that are with wider audiences, and also these are the projects to attract diverse groups of visitors. Of course, the opening is one of the main headliner for every European Capital of Culture. This is the most demanding, the most expensive, and the most controversial event. But it happens to be most of the times the forever image of the project as well. For us, it was very important to have an opening which is a participating event, and we had more than 1,000 volunteers participating in our opening. All the choirs of In our opening, we had 2,000 audience, and of course, it was an event to remember. But of course, besides the opening, we had plenty of other headliners, listen to us exhibition, the Opera Festival, the Rock Festival, which was specially initiated for the European Capital of Culture project, the Food Festival, which is an example of how different the audiences could be, one dance week festivals dedicated especially to the contemporary dance and performance, the Night of Plovdiv, the Jazz Fest, and also Traveling the World, which is the biggest traveling exhibition presenting the collection of IFA, Ulysses, which is a production of Drama Theater in Plovdiv, and also 100% Plovdiv, which is a project by the German group Rimini Protocol, and it was planned in the big book. We managed to implement it. The Medea project was very successful collaboration with the Roma kids and also from other ethnical groups. Plovdiv typeface was specially made for Plovdiv Cyrillic typeface. Also, the different projects dedicated especially to children. Plovdiv Caravana was a meeting of traveling theaters from over Europe with a data artist in residency program. We managed to attract more than 300 applicants and artists who wanted to come and work in Plovdiv. We made also a program with the candidate cities since we had a memorandum signed with them. And we had more than 300 events happening in the whole region around Plovdiv, which was not actually planned in the big book. But thanks to the active cultural centers there, we managed to do it. So the statistics study mainly the data from 2019, but the change and the building of the audiences started much earlier and developed as a process thanks to the number of the information and capacity building meetings that we did. The usual profile of the audiences also changed a lot, and the profile of the citizens from audience to participants in the cultural process also changed, which was something very crucial for us. The national monitoring of the project gave us very interesting and even some unexpected perspective to the results and the impact of the title. In terms of identity, the title has helped greatly to increase the visibility of Plovdiv, of course, at the international level, but also it helped to the local citizens to re-evaluate it not only as a developed cultural center on local level, but to value already its potential to be recognized and to be present internationally. Thanks to the reach and to the varied program, the number of the audiences has grown significantly. Unfortunately, the current situation with COVID, which occurred immediately after in the end of the title for Plovdiv, did not allow us to track actually the sustainability of this trend. The economic effect of the title, as you may see, a visitor spends an average 175 during his stay in Plovdiv. This economic effect is often used as an argument to prove the costs needed for the implementation of the European Capital of Culture. But for us, this economic effect was not an end in itself. It came as an interesting result. The legacy came firstly as a rich experience and huge capacity of the team and the partners. It was also planned budget for us, and we managed to do 2 open calls for projects for 2021 and 2022. This period is already prolonged due to the current circumstances. The whole Melina Mercury Prize was kept for this legacy program, so we managed to allocate the money from the prize in cultural content and to provide the continuation of the cultural activities. Thank you for your attention. I'm sorry for prolonging my time a little bit. I must say that all the information, all the details, all the descriptions of the projects, and also plenty of pictures of them and information about the partners is published both in Bulgarian and English on the website of Plovdiv 2019. So if you are interested, you may go there and check all the information in the documents. Thank you again for your attention.